The Newry and Portadown branch of the Inland Waterways Association of Ireland. You're welcome.
Thanks, Rowan.
What kind of week has it been for your association?
Oh, it's always a good week for us.
Yeah.
Always good news.
Yeah.
Everything's brilliant.
You've got some signing off on a cottage along the way.
Yes, the interpretive centre up at Acton Lake, at long last, the lease has been organised and signed off, and it just has to be like ratified or something. Oh, seal.
Yeah. Seal.
The seal of the city and
Are you
district
called
of
before the kind of emperors?
Oh no, it's people higher up in the association than me,
higher
Rowan.
up?
Oh yes,
Oh.
I'm a very small in this indeed.
Wow, so the fellows fly in from Dublin.
Well, I don't know about flying. I think they'll be
They'll
driving.
be here,
Yes.
driving
Well,
to
I
sign
don't know
it
whether they'll
off.
actually be here. I think they've already signed it.
Oh, well,
and sent it by snail mail.
So what will the interpretative centre be?
Well, our intention, it's 2 rooms in it, right?
Yes.
The intention is to have one end as giving more information about the Newry to Portadown Canal and the IWAI as a whole. And the other end we hope to have opened up as what do you call it, like a travelling display for local arts and crafts.
Yes.
So an artist can come in, take it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, show their stuff, no charge.
Just there.
And or someone who makes something like well, it's actually one of our members makes currachs.
Yes.
But we have a photographer, Alistair Prentice, who does a lot of photography for us. He is certainly interested in taking some of the space. Any potters or anyone like that can just contact us, but that'll be next summer we're talking about.
Yeah, and of course that's the Inland Waterways folk growing into the local community.
Oh yes, indeed. It's a great opportunity. I mean, the place has thousands walk past it every year.
Absolutely.
Admittedly, it's like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
But it's lovely.
No, but it gives me the greatest joy to hear you say thousands walk past it every year, because in my mind's eye, I'm ferried back in the twinkling of my eye to the time when we did the first canal towpath walk.
Yes.
When we had machetes and we were breaking our way through and climbing over bushes. We got to Scarva, and in Scarva at the bridge in the pub they had Irish stew for us, and then we all got taken back again. It was a good thing has happened.
Oh yes, it's marvellous to see the difference in it.
It is.
It's
great.
Absolutely
It's
magic.
great. You see people going out on their bicycles, or you see young women, mothers pushing prams. Heart of the community, I'd say.
Yes, but you still have to step round little piles of dog poo.
Oh God,
It's starting to recur again. Whether it's winter's coming in, it's a bit too
Yeah.
cold for people to go out with their
Yeah.
dogs, and they let them off the lead and let them run up the canal and back down again.
Maybe. Well, no, the other thing, gardening has been occurring.
Oh, it has indeed, yes. We took a few days off from actually working on the canal itself to enhance the locality. And this is at Steenson's Bridge, or some people know it as Dooley's Bridge.
Have we our first shot of it here, maybe?
I have
Andrew?
some interesting points about...
Oh, that's not the first shot of it.
Oh, it'll come up in a...
Well,
funnily enough, people thought it was called...
yes, there we have it. Yes, science works.
Yes, indeed. This is, well done, Andrew. This is Steenson's Bridge a few years ago, before we started doing anything to it. And the whole bridge was overgrown with ivy and had these willow trees growing out, and all sorts of... There were some blackthorns going wild, along with the usual brambles and
You
stuff.
could have an industry in blackthorn walking sticks.
Well, no, that's another story. We cut down some blackthorns and loaded them into the skip beautifully. Everything was in the skip at Scarva. The man came down to take it away, and being a council worker, had to put a net over it.
Yes.
And he phoned me up and said, I can't get the net over this with all these sticks sticking out. I said, it's lovely and neat. And somebody had been down after us and taken all the blackthorns out to look for, obviously, walking sticks. And they had just thrown the stuff back in again.
That's a hideous carelessness, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they probably thought they weren't doing any harm.
Yeah,
but have you ever tried to get a bit of netting over blackthorn sticks that are sticking up several feet?
No, it doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all.
Two of us had to go down and
Where
get
is
up
this
onto
lock? Steenson's lock, exactly.
No, it's only the bridge.
The bridge. Where is this bridge?
The road to Lurganar, just outside past the new bypass around Newry.
Yeah, so people who go on the canal walk,
oh yes,
you'll
you'll come across that. Now that was called Steenson's Bridge. Some people tell you it was called because they thought it was built by one of the Stevensons.
Yes.
The lighthouse builders and canal builders. But in fact, we have discovered on looking at old survey maps that the landowner on the far bank from that, away from the road, was actually a guy called Stinson.
Stinson, yeah.
So I would think it was called Stinson's Bridge.
Yeah. I'm slightly puzzled because I see the bridge, I see the tunnel for the canal coming through, and there's no canal.
No, that's not the canal, that's the back drain. That's
the back
the
drain.
back drain. Yes,
Ah, yeah.
there are 3 arches on that bridge. Well, 2 of them close to it.
Yes.
And that's just the back drain, looking back up towards the wee car park. If
Well,
Andrew changes over to
yeah.
another picture there, we'll see it. Now
Oh, look.
this is us getting stuck in about 3 years ago, I think it was, just after that other picture was taken.
Yeah.
Starting to clear away
It's
the
in
stuff.
very good order, isn't it, as a structure?
Oh, if you'll see it as it comes on here, Andrew, move on to the next one there, and now that's it.
Look,
Yes.
yeah.
Now that's still the back drain on the
Yeah.
bridge. Yes, and as you can see, I mean, it's a huge improvement.
Absolutely.
In the ground.
And
Absolutely
it's
fantastic.
all potential degradation has been halted.
Yes, but what happened then is that the bank that we've cleared just at the left-hand side of the picture below Eamon's van there,
Yeah.
we didn't know what to do with that, and so it was all left. And you'll see in the next picture, I think it is, that this is what happened. The weeds took over.
Oh, yes.
Now, we thought, but possibly the council would have kept it clear for us. But anyway, we didn't ask them. I mean, they just assumed that they would help to keep it clear. So we thought, well, we can't do that. We can't leave it like that. So one of our members suggested that they can make a garden out of it.
A garden? This is going to be
Yes.
a garden?
So we applied for scheduled monument consent,
Yes.
which we had to get. We had to apply for the council, and they wanted to give us some sort of a lease or a license for it to make sure that we weren't trying to take it under squatters' rights. But we've agreed now, we've just swapped letters.
Isn't
saying,
the world upside down?
well, Rowan,
that good men are challenged in that way.
But you have to, because some portions of the canal have been lost.
My goodness.
But through squatters' rights, you see. So I mean, I don't blame the council.
No,
They're only
no,
doing their job
no,
with it.
no.
And if we move on, this is like a whole timeline of how things are
Okay.
progressing.
The garden commences.
This is
terracing.
this is a couple of weeks ago.
My goodness.
We started clearing all the weeds and then the terracing, and then this week we got on and we actually made the terracing.
It's good quality soil, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely stuff. Yes.
Good loam.
So if we look at the next picture, I think that there we are.
Coming
There's the
on
terracing.
again, look at it.
Yeah, we have the planks in, the boards in, holding the terracing up.
Yeah.
And the ground's been cleared. A lot of vetch, which evidently I'm not a gardener, but evidently you don't leave any little bit of root in. It keeps.
Oh, yeah,
It keeps
It'll
taking.
come again.
So they've dug over that several times now.
Yeah.
And is there one more picture, Andrew? Oh yes, that's
look,
the same
yeah.
place from the top of the slope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll plant that out with what?
Oh, well, no, it's not just going to be planted. The lower portion, that's at the top of the picture, is going to be planted out. But this slope, there are 6 steps on it
Yes.
now, and what they do is they reflect the timeline that the rocks were laid down in the Newry area.
Wow.
So the oldest rocks are going to be at the bottom.
Yes.
The newer ones coming up the slope.
And
Now-
will there be some kind of display of explanation?
There will be, indeed. We're putting up another interpretive board at the
Yeah.
bottom and possibly one at the top. But we're going to cover that in that black stuff they put on gardens to stop the weeds.
Yes.
Geotex, is it
Yeah,
called, or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
And then there'll be piles of these stones, of the relevant type of stone,
Yeah.
with the identifications, and then plants planted round them.
Okay, Andrew, back to us, please, if you would. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's all coming on very
Yeah.
well indeed, you know.
It really is excellent, and it's a big commitment, Peter.
Well, that's somebody else. I mean, it's not myself. I'm very little involvement in that.
No,
that
but
particular
when I say
project,
it's
you
a
know.
big commitment, it's a big commitment for your organisation.
Oh yes. But what we're doing is we're planting that with low maintenance plants,
Ah, yeah,
ground
yeah,
cover, high ground
yeah,
cover
yeah,
plants,
yeah.
and except for where the stones are
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean our members are fully committed. I mean that was on Wednesday we were doing that
Yeah.
because
And
it was a dry day. But on Tuesday we were back at lock number 2
Yeah.
with a pump again.
You got a
and an air
diver?
compressor. We have a diver, but
were looking for a
just before we
diver.
get to the
Yeah.
diver bit, we managed to get now the gate is one of the gates at the bottom end is now actually closing apart from about this much. So we reckon there's a breeze block in there. And we can't lift that out. So the diver, yes, we have a diver, a chap called Tommy Murphy,
Yes.
who's a friend of Paul McKeown's, our vice
Yeah.
chairman. And I was talking to him over the weekend.
He'll
And
get it out.
or during the week, and
Yeah.
he's coming down with another friend as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they'll lift out some of the smaller ones, and we'll provide them with a shopping basket type thing or
Yeah.
something. Because
Yeah,
it's all a
right.
matter of just lifting them.
Absolutely.
Garden
absolutely.
tools down in
Easily-
there.
Easily done.
Yes. So,
It's a success story, and you have many members at the moment.
well, we just got the figures there. It's quite complex, the membership, because some people pay direct to Dublin, and we
Yeah.
then don't actually contact the branch at all. They just give the money and as a support to us, you see.
Yes.
So we just got the figures back from the head office. It's 49 members we have for
Members
this
there.
year, plus the 12 corporate members.
Yes, of course.
that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. They must, Dublin, when they look around and scan the horizon of Ireland, they must say, wow, Newry is a bit of a jewel in our crown.
From a work point of view, we certainly are. We're one of the hardest working branches. The Boyne would be a close second. They would probably argue. They would say that they're the leading branch for restoration. But we have a tendency to sometimes think that they're not putting the proper effort in down in Dublin that we would expect to get for the effort that we put in here.
Yeah.
But that's a problem. Just, I mean, they are the ones. They've agreed that we should have the sluice keeper's cottage, and we're very happy and very pleased to see that.
And of course, the Dublin, it's all voluntary the whole way through.
Yes. Well, that's it. Yes, I mean, even right the way through, all the directors are voluntary. Nobody is paid within the association.
Yeah.
It's a marvellous system, but it does have the disadvantage that when people go on holiday, they're gone for a fortnight.
Oh, yes,
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
You can't get in touch with them.
Yeah.
There's no secretary you could leave a message with or anything like that. You know?
It gladdens my heart to see the development of boats on the basin.
Yes.
Goodness gracious, there's a dozen of them there. Maybe
22.
More. 22
I counted them about 2 weeks ago, yes, and there were 22.
Yeah, and there's 2 very substantial boats there.
There are indeed, yes.
Yeah.
One of them is in somewhat doubtful condition, mind you.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes. I think she's called Silvery Light, but I think the Y's fallen off.
That seems to me to be a kind of herring boat from somewhere. It sounds like a Kilkeel name.
Oh, no, she was built as a herring drifter on the south coast in England, St Ives in England.
Silvery Light would have told me that, yeah.
And she was built on the beach, 1882 or 1884, I think. She's a very old boat.
Yeah.
And then I don't know whether she wasn't successful or what it was, but she was shipped out to Norway and strengthened. And she had extra ribs put into it, and the planks were doubled.
Yes.
And she became a trawler. Yeah, she trawled off Norway for years.
I remember there was a fellow until 10 years ago, he may still be doing it. He was trawling under sail in the Irish Sea out of the Isle of Man.
Oh, my goodness me.
And he did it as a hobby.
Well, yeah.
It was his way. He enjoyed doing it, you know. So what lies ahead this week?
Well, this week, we have an IWAI All-Ireland Council meeting tomorrow. That's tomorrow.
Where's that happening?
In Mullingar.
Will you go?
Oh, yes. Myself and Tom Johnson, who's been on your
The
programme.
great punishment, of course, is travelling to Mullingar.
Oh, it's an awful place to get to.
Isn't it?
If you put it into your sat-nav thing, going into Google Maps, it's the quickest way is to go down to Dublin, round the N50 and back out.
My goodness.
But that is 40 miles further than going through Kells. And 3 tolls.
Oh, God.
So I being a bit tight-fisted, I drive down the shorter way.
Yeah.
And I think I save over £30 on the round trip between tolls and fuel.
That's the thing to do. What else have you to tell me this week before we bid you farewell?
Well, we have some tidying up to do on the summit level where we built the sandbag dams.
Yes.
Some of them were supposed to be going out tomorrow to pick up the sandbags and remove them, but unfortunately with the heavy rain we had yesterday, I know the water levels are too high for safety.
Yeah.
But we hope to have we'll be back at lock number 2 during this week, doing a bit more digging and poking about, and then the divers are coming down hopefully next Saturday.
Okay.
And just generally things are ticking over, you know.
It's a full programme.
Oh, it's always a full programme. It keeps us going, and no doubt there'll be more gardening involved as well during the week.
And of course, the life of the canal takes on a different pace as we approach midwinter, heading towards Christmas and beyond.
Well, it does, yes, indeed. Now, I know that you have very close contacts with the Santa Claus, Father Christmas there.
Well, I've information with him, and you see, of course, the real story of Christmas.
Well, now, which is the real story? I've heard several.
This is interesting now, because it was, Santa had a brother, Tanis. There were 2 of them, Tanis and Santa Claus.
Ah, right.
And 2,000 years ago, they took off, well, no, 10,000 years ago, at the end of the Ice Age, both boys were born. And it was so cold, they were born with hairy white beards and all the rest of it, and it was very important to keep them safe. They had a Plodonachite, and the Plodonachite is a creature like a camel, but with 72 humps, the length of a football field.
Michael, right, yeah, that'll explain it.
As high as a single-story house.
Yes.
And they went off around the world 10,000 years ago and at various times ever since, going around in the Plodonachite. And then 2,000 years ago, they bounced off the inner edge of the ionosphere.
My goodness.
And landed at Bethlehem. Now, they got a place in Beth, tied the Pladonicite outside. There's a stable. And they were looking up, and they saw a woman and a man and a donkey coming up the pathway. And Santa said to Tanis, get them in, let them sleep, they need help. Come on in. And they came in. And within moments of coming in, they heard the cry of a newborn baby. Santa said, let's leave them. They're all the best, and all the animals were moo and woo, moo, all inside. And they went outside into the cold, and the sky above the firmament exploded. And the great hairy-headed god shouted down, Santa and Tanis, you have been so good to my baby Jesus that in all the time to come, every Christmas time, you will be gifted to go around the planet and bring things to, presents to children, kindnesses to people all over the world. But how will we do that because we're only two boys? Very easy. That's the way he talks.
Oh, is it?
Very easy.
I never heard.
Every Christmas Eve, I shall turn all of the stars in the firmament, all in the galaxy of the Milky Way, billions of them, into angels. They will come down to you and help you on Christmas Eve. And then, on the morrow, Christmas Day, they shall return to the firmament. That's part of the real story of Christmas.
Right. I've never heard that one.
No, it's sort of a Christmas card story.
Yes, it is.
And of course, your whole life on the canal is very, at this time of year, is very Christmas card. Because would you have as many kingfishers now?
Yes, we saw a kingfisher right in the middle of Scarva village when we started working there 2 weeks ago. Yeah. You still see them about. In fact, they're easier to see now because not so many leaves on the trees.
Of course. And swans. Have you seen any swans this year?
There are 2 swans up near Scarva, and we've seen very few swans about. There's none up about the Win estate there. Now, there's a lot down on the ship canal.
Thank goodness.
Down towards Victoria Lock.
And they're nesting.
Oh, well, no, but they're not at this time of year now.
No, but I mean...
No, they wouldn't be nesting pairs, the ones down at...
Really?
I don't know. I'm told that it's very complicated nesting pairs of swans. There aren't very many nesting pairs ever.
Really?
And they're very possessive of their territory.
And their fellow swan, the cob. And the cob is the male, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
And the female is what?
A hen.
As
far as I know,
a cob and a hen,
As far as
but I used to, it was a terrible thing that people do, and we could ask people to keep an eye out for this. Do you know these 6-packs of alcoholic stuff, of beers, and there's a plastic thing on the top of them, and they're discarded? And swans come along, and ducks come along, and they put their head through one of the loops, out around a second loop, back through a third loop, and they get savagely entangled. And they die.
I think there aren't so many of those around these days. Times must be better, because what we find now are the cardboard boxes that had 24 or 30 tins of beer in them.
Wow.
That's what we find lying along the canal now after a weekend.
Oh, my goodness.
So times must be considerably
better. But if you see if anyone sees any of the plastic things,
lift them.
Break the plastic, get rid of it, and put it safely
take it home. Take it home and put it in your own bin. You know?
Absolutely. Let the people do that. That's important.
But can we go back to Santa for a second?
Yes.
Have you heard at all how Santa's arriving this year along down to the Keys? Is he
down to the Keys
by road or by boat?
Coming in. No, he's coming.
Or flying?
He's not flying this year. I was talking to Cheryl down at the Keys. Good and decent people all. And Cheryl was saying to me, look, it's coming on Saturday week, tomorrow week. And tomorrow week at 12 o'clock in the Keys, Santa will arrive in a pumpkin coach.
A pumpkin coach? My goodness me.
And up he'll come. And there's a family coming with him this year.
Santa's family, you mean, or different family?
They are for the day. He'll adopt them for the day.
Oh, right. Maybe you shouldn't say too much.
That process they'll share the coach with him. And then once in the Keys, he will sit down, he will tell stories, and he will sing the songs of Christmas time.
Oh, my goodness me.
It's going to be something.
Yes.
It's going to be something.
I hope Santa's got a good voice this year.
Well, I said to Cheryl, make sure you get a good voice for Santa.
Oh, yes, that's the important thing.
So he's practicing away there and whatever. Yes. But there's one of his. He sent me that. Pass that over to me there.
Oh.
That is kind of what it's all about.
Is this for catching reindeer?
This is for catching his reindeer. It's a shepherd's crook. Have you got it there? A shepherd's crook. This was made by a man up in Fermanagh.
Oh, yeah.
And he sent it down to Santa. And because I would give Santa some assistance, I look around and I get names for him, and I get helpers for him, and I try to help. This is a sign.
I thought you lent him a beard. No.
No, no. But this will be there, and we like to see this as a kind of an emblem for the kindness of Christmas, because the shepherd's crook, the shepherd looks after the sheep. And one of the things that our Nuri Africa people are doing this year, it's an internal effort on our behalf. We're trying to get people who have a certain amount of money for oil. The government gives me oil money.
Oh, I know what you mean now. I thought you meant money for digging oil out of the ground, fracking or something.
I don't need it.
All right.
So if I'm 71, I'm blessed. I don't actually need it. So the oil money that I get from the government, I give to St. Vincent de Paul.
Oh, yes.
And they give it to the poor. Now, last year we got 7,500 doing that.
Yes, I saw that in the paper.
And what we want to do this year is something similar, because Micheál and Pat of the St. Vincent de Paul Society that were in with me this week, the need is greater than ever. People are having tough times, and people will sometimes tut at people in difficulty and not bother. It's all their own fault. But it's not.
It's not really.
It's a combination of so many circumstances.
Oh, dreadful, yeah.
And very little will go a long way, Yeah. So if you know anybody out there, put the word out.
Will do.
And we'll try and get some help to St. Vincent de Paul.
Indeed.
Thank you for coming in.
We should maybe start that about the canal. Get people to give their money to the canal.
Well, sure, now the canal manages all right.
Oh, we're a charity. We are a charity.
Well, we're doing all right.
No, I think we're doing okay.
It's been going strong.
Yes.
Under the powerhouse of the people.
No, we find that we don't actually need much money. We do.
You need muscle.
Muscle. Hands-on. Hands-on stuff.
Muscle, not money. Or thereabouts.
Well, that's it,
Peter.
Okay, Ron.
God bless you. Go well.
Good to see you.
All the best.
Cheer up.
Destination Newry. Keep it on.